Hey people, this is the second part of my Philko and Russia story. If you didn't hear the first part, link is on the screen. You can go check it out. And then after I make this in a few days, I will make part 3. And the link will be here once part 3 is completed. So let's get to it. Why waste time? Well, we left off last time, I basically just gave an introduction, and I was basically talking about how I never thought about going to Russia at the time in which I was speaking about. Never thought about it, never cared for it, but I did have a big want to go to Ukraine. I've always wanted to go to Ukraine, and then at the end of it, I mentioned that something happened that would change my mind forever. And this is basically what changed my mind. So at this time, the year, I believe it was 2012. I could be wrong, but I believe it was 2012. Actually, I'm not wrong. It was 2012. And at this time in my life, things were okay. I had some money. It was summertime. I was partying and stuff. I had a wife at this time. But we were kind of already, ready to split from each other. So we were already planning the divorce after basically a year. It wasn't very long. But yeah, that was going on, and I was still living in Queensbridge. I had my 2 cats, Big Kitty and Monster. I remember one time I lost Monster. He fell out the second story window, but I knew he was okay because he's a monster, but he was lost outside in Queensbridge. It took me 2 days to find him, going outside every hour, until I found them. And when I found them, it was in perfect timing because a hurricane was coming. So the rain and all that stuff was already coming down. So it was I found them at the exact perfect moment, at the last minute. That shit was crazy. And yeah, at this time, I was seeing a few people, but I wasn't seeing anyone seriously. There was this one girl I spoke to a lot on the internet named Dasha. Her name was Dasha. Now, Dasha was tall, skinny, not really my type physically, sexually, but she was an amazing girl. She was an awesome, awesome, awesome girl. She was smart. She had good English, real good English. And she was planning on coming to New York. So, I had rooms and stuff for rent, but she didn't need that. She didn't need that because what a lot of people did know about me at this time, this before I became a YouTuber, most of the Russian girls who knew me from the Russian website, vk.com, they knew me from renting rooms in New York. So many girls knew from word of mouth, if you go to New York, this is the guy to talk to. And if you need a place to stay, this is the guy who can get you an apartment for cheap. He'll help you find work, all that stuff. That's what I did. And so that's how she heard about me, but she didn't need a place to stay. She just kind of wanted to know where to party at. Because I wasn't a promoter, but I went to the club Webster Hall so much that people thought I was a promoter, and they always let me in for free because I always had these cards. These cards that let me go in for free all the time. And even if I forgot my card or something, they would still let me in for free and let my friends in piss-faced drunk because they were with me. I used to go there all the time. Even did a VIP little thing there. That shit was great with my best friends. It was awesome. So she wanted to know where to party. So I was like, all right, hey, you're in New York now. You just got here. Cool. Let's meet up. And at this time, there was a guy I was hanging out with a lot. His name was Matt. Now, Matt is a Middle Eastern dude. He speaks Arabic and 3 other languages. He's a little shorter than me. I'll show a picture of him here. He's a real cool dude. My favorite thing about him was that he was smart as shit. He was real smart. I mean, throughout my life, I've had the same closest best friends or whatever. But every once in a while, a real cool dude will come in and leave quickly. So me and him, we were friends for a year. My other friends, my crew, I've been close to these guys, all of them at least, 16 years. You know what I mean? But there have been some people who came in and out. They come in for a little and they leave. And Matt was one of them. And Matt was smart. He is a doctor now, but at the time he was studying to be one. And he was okay with girls and stuff. But my favorite thing about him was just he was very mature. He knew what was the right thing to do. He always knew what was the wrong thing to do. He had very good self-control. He's not one of those guys I hang out with and I have to worry about them. I didn't have to worry about him. He was really smart. He always knew what to do. He's very trustworthy. He was a real, real good friend. We didn't get to hang out that much because he was traveling or whatever. And I don't even remember how I met him, but I just know he was a real good friend, right? And so Dasha, the tall, skinny girl, wanted to meet up with us. So I said, hey, you want to come hang out? I have a friend who's going to be here with us. His name's Matt, you know. Are you bringing anyone? And she goes, sure, I'm bringing somebody. And I'm like, who are you bringing? Now, for sake of me avoiding annoying shit and problems, I'm going to refer to the person she's talking about as the lady. This whole video, I will refer to her as the lady, okay? And I'll show an image of the lady, but it's not really an image of her. It's an image close to her. Remember, black and white pictures are not real. Colored pictures are real and actual from that time. So she told me she's bringing the lady. And I'm like, who's the lady? And she's like, well, here's the lady's contact, which is the Russian social network like Facebook. And all I remember doing is going to the VK of the lady. And when I looked, I was like, God damn. Only thing I remember is that the lady had the most beautiful, just craziest blue eyes I've ever seen. Just insane, crazy, gorgeous blue eyes. Cute and sexy. Mostly sexy, then cute. And she looked powerful. She just had like a powerful aura. You know what I mean? And when I looked at the pictures, I remember the first thing I said was, wow, if this Dasha girl likes me, we have a problem because the lady's bad. The lady is bad. You know, but I figured, you know what? Since Dasha has been talking to me for so long, let me respect her wishes or whatever, because if she is trying to get with me, she's been writing me every day, not every day, but every few days for like a month, I believe. She's been talking to me a lot, so let her have a shot, and I'll just try to ignore the lady and let Matt have her. That was my thought. So it was time to meet. It was time for us all to meet. Me and Matt pre-gamed a little. We love to drink. We pre-game. We end up meeting the lady and Dasha at, where did we meet them? We met them in a taxi, this weird taxi situation. Oh, yeah. We got off the F train at the stop right before mine. I forgot the name of the stop. Not Roosevelt Island, the stop right before that. So the F train, it goes from going away from Queens, it goes Queensbridge Projects, Roosevelt Island, and then the one right after that. I forgot what it's called. I've been gone too long, but it's probably like 59th Street, something like that in that area. We see them, we meet up, we all jump in a taxi, and at this time, I'm sitting in the front, so I just shake their hand, so I didn't really get to pay that much attention to them, because we literally grabbed the taxi in the middle of the street, in the middle of traffic. So it's like, hey, there you are, nice to see you, get in the car. So we all just jumped in the car. I get in the front, he's in the back with both of them, and we're driving down towards Queensbridge, my apartment. We're laughing and stuff, we're having fun, blah, 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 talking, because me and Matt already pre-gamed a little. Then we get to the apartment. And this is where shit starts getting interesting. Now, I got to tell you what my apartment looked like in Queensbridge. Maybe I could find some pictures, but, it was kind of dingy, to be honest. It wasn't the prettiest apartment, but I had a fair amount of space. It wasn't a bad area, but I hooked it up. Like, I made the lights like kind of dim and red. So when I had people come over for parties, which I had many, many parties, and the neighborhood was very noisy, so no one ever complained about noise from my apartment. Never, ever once, because the whole neighborhood's noisy. How are you going to complain about me? The whole neighborhood's noisy. And I always had bottles of alcohol everywhere. The girls loved Nuvo. I had Bailey's, vodka. What was the other thing they were drinking? Even some Jägermeister and stuff, and a few cans of Guinness lying around. I always had alcohol at the ready. I always had it ready, So it's like, hey, whatever you want, let's get it. I even had a vodka bottle shaped like a shotgun or an AK-47. I don't exactly remember right now. And I always had that filled with vodka whenever I could. You know what I mean? And people would take shots of that. That was awesome. So as we sat there, we're drinking and stuff, and as I'm sitting there, I'm trying to ignore the lady. I'm trying to ignore her. I'm trying, not ignore, but I'm trying not to give her too much attention. I want to give Dasha the attention because she was the one who was actually talking to me a lot, But as we started drinking, I just noticed that everything I said, the lady responded, every question I asked, The lady responded in the exact way I would want a girl to respond. Everything I asked. Everything I asked. She responded. Now, I don't remember exactly what I asked, but the point of me telling you this is at this time I started realizing, holy shit, the lady's fucking awesome. The lady is fucking crazy awesome, you know? Only thing I knew about the lady at this time was she had beautiful blue eyes. She was sexy. She seemed kind of powerful, and she seems like the type of girl you don't want to piss off, but she was cool as shit. And I remember my first time hitting on her, which was a terrible attempt, which was a terrible, embarrassing attempt. And as we ended up going out later, me and the lady made fun of this moment for 2 years straight. She wanted to smoke a cigarette. I didn't like smokers, and I still don't, but because it's her, I didn't care at the time. So she said, where can I smoke? Now, I typically send girls outside to smoke a cigarette in front of the building. But, you know, it's the projects, and white girls grab a lot of attention. So I didn't want to send her out there to the jungle, so to say. So I let her smoke the cigarette outside of my window. But as I was bringing her to the window and she was about to light it, I gave the quote of a lifetime. God. I gave the quote of a lifetime trying to flirt with her, in which I looked her right in her eyes before she lit the cigarette, and I said, hey, enjoy your cigarette. Now, I know that's not probably funny to you guys, but it's one of those you have to be there moments because you have to see how cool I tried to be in order to understand why it's funny. You know, I made my voice deeper, I made strong eye contact, and I'm like, hey, enjoy your cigarette. And it didn't work at all. Like, at the time, she didn't laugh or anything, but just to say, we laughed about that in the future for years. So that was my first attempt at it. And this, hopefully, if this chapter doesn't teach you anything, hopefully it teaches you just one thing, that don't give up after your first try. So anyway, she smokes a cigarette, and then we decide to go to the club. Now, where were we going to the club? We were going to go to Webster Hall, of course, my favorite club. And it was a special night at Webster Hall this night. At this night, it was a foam party. It wasn't a regular party. It was a foam party. You know, it was awesome. You know, they dropped the foam from the ceiling. If you don't know Webster Hall, this club has like 1, 2, 3, like 4 floors, and they're usually popping like crazy. This is my favorite club, and it's like one of the only clubs in New York you can get in when you're 19. And I've been going to that club since I was 22, so I liked it, you know, because I like girls who are younger than me. Love that shit, right? So we decided to go, but for some reason we didn't take a taxi. I don't know if it was from lack of money. I'm not sure what it was, because my money situation was okay at the time, but not so great. I wasn't as comfortable as I am now. So, and at this time, it was the end of summer, so my money was actually running out at the time because I saved money all winter to spend it during the summer, and this was towards the end of the summer, so my money was definitely running out. So anyway, we get on the train, and I remember when we were getting on the train, as I sat next to Dasha, the lady was, I think she was holding hands with Matt, or she did something that looked like she was holding hands with Matt. And when I saw that, I cannot front, I was hating. Straight up and down, I was hating. Like, I didn't have a problem with Matt, but when I saw that, I said to myself, how am I going to get in between them? That's not in my personality. That's not me. That was the only time I've ever done that. And it's only because the girl was really cool, beautiful blue eyes, and she just seemed powerful. And I just liked those things so much. She was wearing like this blue puffy dress that kind of made her look fat, but I didn't care. I really didn't care. I didn't know what her body looked like. She just kind of looked a little overweight. But I was like, you know, I don't care. I really like this girl, right? So when we get off the train, I'll never forget the move I made. The move I made, which was just so random and so kind of fucked up to my dude Matt, but he didn't really care at the time, luckily for me. But we were walking up the stairs, all 4 of us individually. So it was like Matt and the lady in front of me and Dasha next to each other. So as we were walking up, I'm behind the lady, and Dasha's behind Matt. I put my right hand out and kind of hold the lady's wrist to like slow her down. And as Dasha kept going, she was next to Matt. I pulled the lady back with me, held her hand, and we walked up together, and we didn't let go. We held hands all the way to the club. We didn't let go. From what I remember, because now I was kind of drunk, so my memory's not so great. But we held hands till we got to the club. So we get to the club, we get inside, and at this point, because I've been holding hands with Dasha, not Dasha, the lady, that it's obvious that me and Dasha were not going to, I guess I thought I made it obvious that I wasn't interested in Dasha, because if I'm holding hands with the lady that long and I'm holding hands with her going in the club, I figured Dasha would kind of understand that I'm not into her and that I'd rather be with a friend. That was my thinking at the time. But this is a situation that definitely just put the nail in the coffin and just said, I'm into the lady. I don't give a fuck what you think, Dasha. So this is what happened. We're up there, and at this time, I love to dance. But remember, this is New York. This is New York. This ain't Russia. In New York, black dudes don't dance like they do in Russia. Out here in Russia, they got like this kind of techno kind of dance thing, and I don't do that shit. I'm from New York. And so the kind of dancing I do with girls, everything is close, real sexual. If she's facing you, the dude got like one leg kind of between her legs and she's kind of grinding on that like upper thigh kind of thing, And if she's turned around, you know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. And that's how I'm used to dancing. So I start dancing with the lady. And as I'm dancing with the lady, just a little, it was an innocent dance. It was maybe just 1 minute. And then as I'm doing that, I'm not sure to this day if Dasha got jealous or she just wanted to go talk to other guys just for whatever reason. But as I was dancing with her, Dasha came and goes, all right, let's go, and tries to take the lady away to go do something else. And there's the second thing I did that I don't usually do. As she tried to take the lady away from me, I put my hand out and I said, no, she's dancing with me. Now, if you know me, you know that's not my personality. That's not me. How do I usually behave? If something like that happens, if a girl wants to take the girl away, I'm like, go ahead, I'll just dance with someone else. Because I feel if she really likes me, she will come back to me anyway. That was always my mentality. I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't physically hold a girl back. But I did that this time. Not only did I pull the lady away from my friend, I also pulled the lady away from her own friend. I was bugging out over this girl. I was bugging out. And then they talked a little bit, and the lady decided to stay with me and dance with me. So at that point, Matt went off to follow Dasha and maybe try to get with her, and I stayed with the lady. We danced at the foam party. It was all right. But then we went to the main floor. And I don't know if you guys know the main floor of Webster Hall, but it's not the biggest floor. It's under the big stage, the floor under it. And where all the freaky niggas go, they go on the stage of this main floor, which isn't the biggest floor, because I don't want people who go to Webster Hall to get it twisted. I'm not talking about the main stage where they have the big performances. I'm talking about the floor under that with the smaller stage. And if you go on that stage, it's kind of like in the back and it's like kind of dark. This is where the freaky niggas dance, because you can put your back on like this little fence thing, and it's like a little black fence that's against the wall. You put your back on that and girls just go wild back there. I don't know what it is. Girls just go wild. Now, I remember I was real drunk. Really drunk. But when we went back there and we danced 3 hours straight, only with bathroom breaks. 3 hours straight, and she danced better than the black girls. She was doing her thing. I remember as I was dancing with her, I was like, God damn, this girl's like, she danced like a black girl. Like, and I asked her, I was like, are you part black or something? Because the way you're dancing is crazy. The lady had moves and all that. Like, she was grinding on me like nobody's business. We, like 3 hours, we just kept going at it. I wouldn't leave her side. When she went to the bathroom, I went with her to the bathroom, waited outside. When I went, she went with me. We wouldn't leave each other's side. My style at a club, even if I go with girls, I'll spend half the time with the girls I went with and half the time looking for new ones. I didn't leave her side. I was right there. I didn't leave her side. You know what I mean? So 3 hours of dancing goes by, whatever. Then we decide to go have breakfast. So as we go have breakfast, at this time it's obvious. Me and the lady, we're an item. We're dating at this time, it's obvious. And Matt and Dasha, I know at first it was supposed to be me and Dasha, it just didn't work. But now Matt and Dasha are kind of like, like that kind of awkward kind of, Matt's kind of like, I'm trying to hit it, miss. But she's like, no, you ain't going to hit this. So it's like me and the lady kissing and stuff. And Matt and Dasha just kind of sitting there with their, I'm not going to say they look sad or anything. But they were just kind of like, they don't have who they want kind of thing going on. So that was that night, and it was an amazing night. After that, we all went to our respective homes and, went to sleep, was happy. I immediately told my friend Steve. Now, my nigga Steve, I gotta talk a little bit about Steve before I go on. Steve is a big black dude who I didn't like in high school. But right after high school, like 10 years ago or 11 years ago, I ran into him in my neighborhood and we just became friends, like instantly. I didn't get it. In high school, I didn't like him because he always pretended to be things he wasn't. So, for example, in high school, I was in Erasmus Hall. We all were in Erasmus Hall, EHC, Erasmus Hall crew. That's that's the symbol I have on my hats. And so I was in a program called Gateway, and this program was for the smart kids. You had to have a certain average in junior high school and on your city exams in order to get into the special program, and I was in it. What he would do is sometimes at lunchtime, he would come hang out with us to kind of look like he was a loser. It's like we were basically losers in that class. There was only a few cool people, but why would you come and hang out with the losers to try to look cool? So I just did, and plus he was older than us by like 2 years. It's like, why are you hanging out with the freshmen? I really just didn't like him. You know what I mean? At the time in high school. But afterwards, we just became friends because, I don't know, it just happened. He reminded me of Biggie Smalls. I always called him Biggie Smalls. And a lot of people knew him for talking shit on black people. He would always be like, black people this, black people that. And a lot of people knew him for that. I never joined him on that shit, when he did that, talking down to black people stuff, even though he's one of the blackest people I literally ever met. But Steve's that nigga though. One thing about Steve is he could fight. He was like a bodyguard. I've seen him knock out 2 white dudes with the same punch. One white guy called him a nigger, knocked out quick. The other one, why did he knock? Well, yeah. Well, he didn't knock him out with one left hook. He knocked the other dude out because the other dude was talking shit like he's a martial artist. And when Steve knocked him out, it was kind of like continuous jabs to the face, and the dude's head was like bouncing off a wall. So yeah, that's how Steve gets down. I'm not saying Steve's racist towards white people, but if white people talk shit to him, he's gonna knock them out. That's what he always does. So anyway, yeah, and I told Steve about it. And at this moment, I was real close to Steve, and me and him were partying together a lot. And I just kept telling Steve, man, dude, this girl, she's awesome, blah blah blah, this and that, blah blah blah. And he was like, all right, why don't we go hang out with them? I was like, all right, where should we bring them? He was like, you should bring them to Roosevelt Island. You know how beautiful Roosevelt Island is. You know how exotic it is. You know how romantic it is. Let's take them to Roosevelt Island. And I was like, all right, cool. So me and Steve meet up Union Square, and the girls are going to meet us there. The lady and Dasha were going to meet us there. And there was another girl there, this blonde girl. I forgot her name, but she was like the mom of the group. So I'm going to call her Mom for this episode. And I'm not going to talk about her anymore because we didn't really get along, but I'll just call her the mom because she was just the one who nags. She doesn't drink and stuff like that, just whatever. So it's Mom, the lady, and Dasha. And so me and Steve are hanging out. We're waiting. And at one point, I remember looking like across the street. Now, as we looked across the street, we saw some girls, and this one girl had a ridiculously fat ass. And she wasn't fat. She had a ridiculously fat ass, though. She's wearing a black and white dress with the horizontal stripes. You know what I mean? It's like, God damn, that girl got a fat ass, and shit, blah, blah, blah. So as we're standing there, those 3 girls cross the street towards us. And then I'm like, oh, shit, they're walking this way. Look away so they don't know we're looking at them. And then as I'm standing there trying to look the other way, I feel a tap on my shoulder, and we turn and look. It's the lady, Dasha, and Mom. The lady that I was looking at literally is the lady. She's the one with the ass. Now, I'm in shock for many reasons here. I'm in absolute shock the fact that she has a fat ass because, one, I don't know how I didn't realize that. From what I remember, I told Steve that she might be a little fat because I remember when we were dancing, I felt a lot of shit. But apparently all I felt was that ass, but I was so drunk I didn't realize it. It was because of the kind of dress she was wearing. She was wearing it was like a puffy kind of dress, and you can't see her figure at all. That's what she wore the night of the party when we went to Webster Hall. But now she's wearing a tight dress, and now I'm not drunk. I'm sober as shit. And I'm like, holy shit. And Steve is like giving me this look like, damn, nigga, you didn't tell me that. I'm like, I didn't know. I felt like I was an idiot. I felt so many emotions at that point where I saw she had that ass. I was like, one, I'm an idiot for not realizing it. Two, this is going to be a serious, serious, serious problem for me. A serious problem. Serious problem. Serious, that's it. It was just, how didn't I notice? And two, this is going to be a serious problem. So all I remember is as we were walking, I was nervous as shit. I was nervous because not only did I already like her so much, not only because I just kept thinking about her all the time and I had a dream about her already and stuff. Now she has the nerve to have one of the best bodies I've ever seen. She had the nerve. So I mean, I was nervous as shit. I was sweating bullets. So whatever. All five of us, we go to Roosevelt Island. If you guys don't know Roosevelt Island, it's an island that's in between Queens and Manhattan. And it's very beautiful there, very expensive. But it's romantic. If you like going for walks and stuff, I hate walking around. But because she wanted to do it and I liked her, I agreed. And it's a great place to walk around if you want to bring a girl, lie down on the grass and stuff like that. Roosevelt Island is the shit. You know, only one train goes there. That's the F train to Roosevelt Island. And they have these little, fuck, I forgot what they call it, like trolley carts in the air. You know what I mean? Like those little things that can lift you up and take you across the islands. Yeah, you could take that there too. Or drive there, of course. So we decided to go there. And here's another moment that stands out in my mind. When we got there, I felt the need to not get hurt by her. Because I was hurt like 3 times in 2009. And since then, I've been fine. But I didn't want it to happen again in 2012. I did not want it. I didn't want to go through that. So we were like on the island for 2 minutes, and I stopped her, and I asked everybody else to keep walking. And I looked at the lady and said, I was like, look, I just want you to know that I really like you. I like you a lot. And I don't know how you feel. I don't know if you just see me as some regular friend. I don't know if you kiss me and all that stuff and dance with me because you were drunk. You know, I really don't know. But I need to know because I know that I like you so much now that one day it's going to get worse and worse and worse, you know, as time goes on. So I need to know, do you like me? And she goes, ha ha ha. Don't worry, I like you. And then she grabs my hand, and we start walking and holding hands. I remember my hand was sweaty. I was shaking. You know, I was not trembling, but I was shaking. Nigga was shaking. I was doing a Harlem Shake. You know what I mean? But just a little one. And I was sweating bullets, bro. My palms and forehead, everything was sweaty because I liked her so much. Now she just said she liked me. Now we're holding hands, walking around. Now we're holding hands, walking around, kissing. Now I can kiss her whenever I want. You know, I mean, I remember one night we literally hugged and kissed in front of her building for like 2 hours straight. From 2 o'clock in the morning to like 4 o'clock in the morning. We're in front of her building making out, kissing, and I'm not trying to suggest anything bad at the time because I don't want to ruin anything, so I let her handle everything. You know what I mean? I let her control the pace, everything. That's her choice. You feel me? I left that all to her. So there were a lot of things that I remember about spending time with the lady. I'm going to quickly go through that. Then I'm going to finish off this video and tell you why I even talked about it in the first place. And I got to make sure my phone is still on because sometimes it bugs out. So I remember one specific memory. The first time I walked around with her, when not that night, because the day we walked around when she wore the black and white dress, I didn't bring her anywhere like any black areas. Right now I'm gonna talk about once I started bringing her to black areas and to areas in which I was known very well, and she was wearing something that shows that figure. Because what she told me in the future was she didn't really like her figure that much, but once she realized I liked it so much, she started showing it off. So when she went shopping after that, all the clothes she bought shows her figure. So basically, every time we hung out after that night in the club, she showed her figure, and her shit was grade A. Grade A. Some of you've seen it before. I had to delete her stuff before she got a new boyfriend and stuff, out of respect or whatever. But if you guys remember the video where she was skateboarding in the projects and all them niggas around, that's what I'm talking about. That chick was a top pog before I knew what a top pog was. So I remember we went to this African festival in, where is this? This was in Prospect Park. It was some African festival in Prospect Park, and I took her there. And she wanted to go. She wanted to see some stuff, And this African festival was pretty cool. You had people dancing, you had the instruments and shit, you had niggas wilding. It was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed ourselves, all four of us. It was me, Steve, the lady, and Dasha. And I just kept noticing how cool the black dudes were being to me. This isn't the first time I went through that, but it was extreme with her. It was extreme with her. Because the one girl I dated and I got this kind of respect when I was younger she had a great bubble ass, but it wasn't that big. She was like a fitness chick, But this is just a dunk. And she wasn't fat. So people were really giving me like props and stuff. They were giving me mad props. I remember when I brought her to the hood, right after the party in Prospect Park, whatever, I introduced her to my dad. Before the hood, I introduced her to my dad. My dad was like, My dad was on board. My dad was on board completely. Now, hopefully he didn't think I was with the skinny one, but I'm pretty sure I didn't hold hands in front of him. I just didn't want to. But hopefully I think he knew which girl I was with, either the skinny one or the one with the ass. He knew I was with the one with the ass. I think he knew that. But then after that, I brought it to the hood, the projects, and dudes were never nicer to me. This is the first time they actually stopped me. And at this time, I kind of knew these dudes because they knew me as the guy with all the white girls. So the first time I brought her in something tight, during the daytime, they stopped me. And they're like, yo, who's your friend? And yo, she got a sister. And they're talking to us. Even the girls started talking to us. And we hung out for like 2 hours outside in the project, sitting on the benches and shit. They smoking and shit. But we're hanging out and talking. This is the first time I've ever done that. And it's because they saw me with her. And they were like, oh, that's it. You got to hang out with us. You part of the crew. You know what I mean? And it was fun. You know what I mean? And I'll never forget it. But out of all that fun, there was some bad shit that happened. I remember, and this whole thing with her in New York was only about 2 weeks. All this, what I'm going to tell you about, all occurred within 2 weeks. She wasn't there that long. So, it was her birthday. And this was right after, the day in which we held hands and we kissed, and she told me she liked me. She was going to Washington, D.C. And it's her birthday. And she said, when I come back around 8 o'clock, we're going to hang out. And I was like, all right, cool. When are you going to call me? Call me around 6 and we'll meet up. She goes, okay. Now, one thing you need to know about me is I don't bother people. I'm not going to continuously call you. I may call you one time if you're late, but that's it. I don't bother women. No matter how much I like them, no matter how much I'm in love with them, I'm not going to bother them. I don't bother anybody. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to bother you. I refuse to be annoying to anyone, So if like someone watches my videos and say you're annoying, I'm like, you're an idiot because you're watching a video. You know what I mean? But this is very different. This is me calling them. So, okay, so what I do when I am in love or I really, really like a girl, when I'm waiting for her to either arrive or call, I do nothing but wait. I literally can do nothing. I can't watch TV. I can't play video games. I can't do anything but wait. It rarely ever happens, but it's just when I'm crazy about a girl, I can't do anything else. So by the time 4 o'clock came, I started laying down, waiting next to the phone, just in case she called early. 5 o'clock came, no call. I'm like, all right, she's going to call in time. 6 o'clock came. Remember, I'm lying there not doing anything, not eating. Can't eat. I use the bathroom, come back, that's it. 6 o'clock comes, nothing. I'm like, all right, maybe she's a little late. 7 o'clock comes, nothing. I text at 7. No answer. And that's the only text I'm going to send because I'm not annoying. 8 o'clock comes. No answer. 9 o'clock comes, no answer. 9:30, I call Steve. I'm pissed as shit, and I'm going off like, this bitch fucking stood me up and shit. Fuck bitch. Nah, I'm going off because I really wanted to see her. I just told her I liked her. She told me she liked me, and now she's ignoring me. What was the point of all that bullshit if you're just going to ignore me? What's the point? Why didn't you just leave me that day, that moment when I said, I really, really like you. I need to know if you feel the same. You could have just said, well, I'm not sure. Maybe you're not my type, or maybe there's some other guy. Why couldn't she just say that? That's what I'm thinking. Like, why the fuck couldn't she just say that? So I'm pissed. I'm mad. 10 o'clock comes, no call. 11 o'clock comes, no call. And at this time, I'm hungry as fuck. I'm just sitting on the couch, just pissed as shit. Just pissed and actually kind of depressed. Just losing my shit over how quickly I fell for this girl and how quickly she became a bitch to me. But at 11:20, my phone starts ringing with that special ringtone, and it's the lady. So I look at the phone and I'm thinking, should I answer? Should I answer? I answer. So I answer and I'm like, hi. And she's like, oh my God, Phil, I'm so drunk. I'm on a rooftop party in New York. I'm back, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I thought we were going to spend some of your birthday together. She goes, yeah, I'm waiting for you. You come down here, blah, blah, blah. If you come, that'll be great, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. So all that shit I'm talking, I'm now heading towards the city. And I was heading towards the city by myself. And I went down there. And I don't exactly remember the order, but I remember, yes, I met her and her friends first. I met her and her friends first. We met, and she was wearing this tight black dress. And I mean, this is when I knew I was going to love her. When I saw her in that black tight dress and I saw her, she hugs me and just kisses me in front of everybody and puts her arms around me and puts her head on my shoulder. That's when I knew I was going to love her. I knew I was going to fall in love with her right there. Right there. That was the moment where I knew it was going to be love if I didn't leave her at that second. I knew it. So we went to a pub somewhere on like near 49th Street, and I met up with my other friends. And what was so funny was she was dressed so nice, and I was kind of dressed hood. And I didn't like it. So I literally made her wait for me in the bar with my friends for 15 minutes as I went, bought a tie and a nice hat just to feel presentable next to her. I actually did that shit. I went out, spent like $40 on a decent hat and tie. I was already wearing a collar shirt, luckily, but I spent like $40 on a decent hat and tie. Well, I guess you could say that's decent, a decent price, just so I could feel better next to her. And we hung out that night. It was a lot of fun. We took pictures. It was nice. It was a lot of fun. You know, we drank, we got drunk, and, you know, then the night went well, and we basically just knew from that day on we were kind of together in some way, that we were together. And I was extremely happy. Like, I immediately put her on my Facebook profile picture, even my VK profile picture, and that was where I met a lot of girls and shit. I didn't even care. That's how much I liked her. You know what I mean? That is exactly how much I liked her. I was crazy about her. I did all that. So, at this time, you gotta remember, I was kind of a player, you know what I mean, in New York. Most of the girls I was dealing with were Russian or Ukrainian, but there are also some German girls I was messing with because I've been to Germany a lot, and I had a lot of info on people in Germany and stuff. So I can't say a lot. By that time, I've been to Germany 3 separate occasions, so I had some connections there. That was like my Russia before Russia. It was Germany. So I was dating a good number of girls, but one girl I was dating that stood out at the time who I kind of liked a lot because she was so pretty. She wasn't my type mentally though, so I knew I wouldn't fall in love with her, but she was just so pretty. Like, I adored just how pretty she was. She was just so fucking pretty. Just so gorgeous. You know, like every time I looked at her, I was like, oh, she's so pretty. You know, we dated a few. I'll tell you this, I'm not going to get into details, but she's so pretty that when I met her in Webster Hall, I did something with her that I've never done with a girl before. And I don't know why I did it. Now, I'm not sure if I should say it right now because I know I'm going to show her real picture. But let's just say I did something really freaky that I thought would impress her. And I guess it worked because we were together after, but it was just really embarrassing, and I don't know why I did that, but luckily for me, it worked in the end. But I'm not one of those people who do crazy things in a bar or club. I use the bed for everything crazy. That's how I am. But this one time, I just really wanted to impress her, and I liked her so much that I did something it's just strange. It was just strange and freaky in the club. But we got away with it, and she thought I was cool. And she and I hung out. But we were both kind of like free people who understood we were free, and we didn't really have any jealousy towards each other. I mean, she came to the hood a lot. Dudes in the hood recognized her 'cause she was very blonde, big ass green blue eyes, like you could see her coming from a mile away. Only person you could confuse her with, if anyone you could, was my wife, but my wife was tall. My wife was tall. She was taller than me, or my height, one of the two. But when she wore high heels, she was clearly taller than me. But this girl wasn't tall. It's the only difference. So, but other than my wife, she stood out because she was the only one who looked like that. And she visited me often. She actually would come to the hood by herself and ring my doorbell. And I told her to stop doing that, but she didn't give a fuck. She would come to the hood by herself, wearing a cute-ass dress, looking like a little princess, walking through the hood. And where I lived, I didn't live like at the edge of the projects. I lived inside. So you had to walk 1-2 blocks, then turn to get to my building. So you're walking through people. You know what I mean? You're walking through the hood in order to get to me. You know what I mean? And she kept doing that. And she invited me to this party one night. And at this time, I was seeing the lady all the time. I was always with the lady, but then the German girl invited me to a party, rooftop party. So I go to the rooftop party with the lady, and me and the lady are chilling. And the lady's smart. She's very smart, extremely smart. And one thing she said to me was, she asked me, "Are you or were you seeing this girl?" I was like, "Yeah." She's a little uncomfortable with that, but she was able to live with it. But then shit got worse because another girl I was dating named Oksana from Russia, and we actually have a video together on the internet. But another girl, let me say seeing, because we used to kiss, walk around and stuff. Nothing real crazy happened between me and her, but we used to walk around, hold hands, kiss. It's kind of like a little romantic kind of relationship. Not trying to say I slept with her, but with this particular girl, but we were kind of just messing around with each other, so to say. And she was leaving, going back to Russia the next day. So she's like, "Phil, I need to see you tonight. I'm going back to Russia." I'm like, "Look, I'm at a party. I'm with one girl I'm seeing. And there's another girl here I used to see who I think has feelings for me. And I don't know if something's going to happen here, so this is not a good time." She goes, "No, I don't care. I need to come." I'm like, "Oh, my God, fine." So then she comes, the girl Oksana, she comes to see me. And we're outside the building. Now, little did I know there was a balcony. There was a balcony from the party where we were. And with this balcony that's off the roof, if you look down, you can see in front of the building. I didn't know that. So when she came to see me in front of the building, we were literally making out, giving like a goodbye kiss. And the lady saw everything. She saw it. She saw what I was doing. I didn't know this until a year after. The lady showed no clues that she knew what I did. She showed no clues, but she saw that shit. I had no idea. That was fucking embarrassing when I found out a year later. So then I kiss her goodbye. Then I run back upstairs, and things start getting awkward with the German girl and I, because the German girl at this time was dating a rich guy who actually organized the party, and he was at the party. And Matt was there. Let me not forget Matt was there. And I remember Matt is my good friend. He's very smart, and I trust him a lot. So as we're hanging out, we're all partying, everything's going good. The German girl starts crying. She starts crying, and then she walks away. And the rich guy gets mad because she didn't want to talk to him, and then the rich guy just leaves. And I'm like, "Oh, I guess it's my job to talk to her." And at this time, I noticed Matt was getting very irritated with something. And I didn't know what it was. He was getting real irritated. What the fuck's wrong with Matt? And he's getting pissed. I don't know what's wrong with him. So I go to talk to Sarah, and I guess she was talking kind of loud, and Matt kind of heard some of it. What Sarah was basically saying was, I'm sad because I miss you, but you with another girl, this, and that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know who this girl is, but I think I'm better than her, blah, blah, blah. And then out of nowhere, because she was talking kind of loud, but not everyone in the party was listening, the music wasn't very loud at the party. It's kind of like classical kind of music volume. It wasn't very loud at all. So you can hear people from across the room if you wanted to. And then out of nowhere, Matt just gets up and he barked on me. He just screamed at me. He barked on me. He stands up, drink in his hand, kind of drunk, but I understood everything he said. He just gets up with this like Arabic accent and he just goes off, basically saying, Phil, if you fall for this shit, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot if you fall for this shit. This girl, the lady, is the best girl I've ever seen you with. And I've seen you with many girls. She's beautiful. She's honest. She's nice. She's smart. You shouldn't even be at this party with this stupid German bitch who's trying to make you go against this other guy. And when she got another guy, she's a slut, blah, blah, blah. And he's just going off for like 3 minutes straight. And I'm just standing there, not scared or angry, but like, he's right. He's absolutely right. But I was just surprised to hear him yell because I've never heard him yell, but he yelled at me. And by the time he was done, I was like, shit, you're right. So I'm like, all right, bro, I'll catch you next time. I'm going to take the lady home. He goes, go ahead, take her home, do your thing. And he stayed at the party. What's interesting was before I took the lady home, we walked around the building a little bit. So after Matt yelled at me, apparently everyone left the party. I didn't know. So they all leave. And while they're all gone, I'm still kind of walking around the building with the lady, showing her around. And as we get in a taxi to go home, I see the German girl drunk hitting on 2 bouncers in front of a club. Like she got her head like on one guy's chest and her hand touching the other guy's shoulder. And I'm like, wow. Matt was right. She wasn't really doing all that for me. She just likes attention. And I was like, wow, then me and the lady were home. But I learned something that day. I'm going to listen to his ass from now on. And I did. It's good to have friends you could trust. It's really, really good to have friends you could trust who are just seasoned with, because, there's different kinds of smarts. There's street smarts and there's book smarts. You know what I mean? A lot of people are book smart, but you can't always apply those book smarts to the streets. I don't want to talk about things going now. I don't want to change the setting in your head, but that's something you got to know. It's very important to have the different types of friends, right? So the 2 weeks are going by fast. They're going by real fast. And I had an idea. I was like, there's only 2 days left for her to be here. Should I see her or should I take this commercial I got? Now, on the second to last day she was to be there, the third to last day, I was offered a commercial job, and commercials pay great money. Pay great money. If you're an actor, even if you're an extra in a commercial, it pays 2 times as much if you're doing it for a movie. Commercials pay good money. You feel me? Real good money. And they were going to need me for at least 12 hours, so I knew that check was going to be at least $1,500 at least, because it's a commercial, and on a weekend, crazy money. And it was on a weekend, so at least $2,000. So I say, yeah, I'll take it. Then I told the lady, I'm sorry that I can't see you on the second to last day, but I got a commercial and I need the money. I think I know why I need this money. There's something special I might want to do with this money, so I'm going to take this job. She goes, okay. It was a Maybelline commercial. No homo. All I had to do was look at a girl's ass. It was amazing. All I had to do was I was supposed to look at her hair as she walked by. But I'm like, fuck the camera. They ain't focusing on me. So I just looked at her ass every time she walked by and made the money. And after the commercial, I knew I had an idea how much I was going to get. It was in the thousands. And I'm like, I have an idea of something I might want to do with these thousands of dollars. So on the last day I was to see her, we were hanging out and I spoke to the lady and I looked at her and I said, I really like you. She goes, yeah, I know. I'm like, you're going back to Russia, aren't you? She goes, yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to come see you. And she goes, what? And I'm like, I'm going to come to Russia. She goes, you're not going to Russia. Her and her friend Dasha were just laughing. They were just dying laughing. Like, you're not going to Russia. You're not going to go to fucking Russia. There's no reason for you to do that. You don't like me that much. And I said, okay, watch. I'm going to get the money from the commercial. I'm going to get my visa, and I'll be there within 2 months. And all she could do was laugh. That's all she was able to do, was just laugh. And then she left. We had a goodbye kiss, cried a little bit. She left, and my heart was broken. So broken that I did the most embarrassing thing ever. I remember I was with this girl who I was into. She was real attractive. We were hanging out because she was staying in my apartment because, I rented rooms and stuff. So a lot of girls stayed with me. And she was a gorgeous ass girl. And I made a video with her when I came back to Russia too. And I remember we came back to my place and we were just chilling and stuff, and I was drunk, and I just started crying. She goes, "What's wrong?" This in front of the hot chick. And she's like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I think I'm in love with the lady and I miss her." She's like, "Who's the lady?" I showed her pictures and stuff, and I was fucking crying. I don't mean tearing, bro. I mean, I was crying. You would have thought like my mother died. Like, that's how much I was crying about how much I missed the lady at the time. I was going crazy with how much I missed her. So sure enough, what I do, I got the money from the commercial, cashed my motherfucking check, took those thousands, bought a ticket. First I had to get a visa. Getting a visa was easy. It was different than it is now, but it wasn't that hard for me. All I remember me doing was going down to, first I wanted to go to the consulate, but as I stood on the line with all those Russian people and stuff, I just felt so weird, and I just left and decided to do it through the travel company. Went there, they asked for the money. They gave me a month long, I still have the visa in my passport to this day. It was a month-long tourist visa for 1 month, single entry. I paid the money, got the visa in like a week, told her I got the visa, and I told her I'm buying tickets now. She goes, are you sure you want to do this? I say, yeah. She goes, Russia is not like really the best place for foreigners, especially black foreigners. And I said, I don't give a fuck. I'm from Brooklyn. I live in Queensbridge. I'm buying a ticket now. Bought the ticket. About 2 weeks after that, got on a plane, landed in Moscow, Sheremetyevo. Was it Sheremetyevo or Vnukovo? I forgot which airport. Sorry, guys. But I landed in Moscow. Might have been Sheremetyevo. Might have been. But anyway, one of the 3 airports there. Went to get my bag, saw her, hugged her, kissed her. We went outside. It was winter time. It was kind of cold. I looked at this new world. Different cars. This just in front of the airport. Different cars, different language, different feeling. And people looked at me with different eyes. This day would change my life. Part 3, coming soon.